Welcome, Wrestle Buddies, to the weekly podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and I'm joined by two awesome regular guys, Nick and Jim. How we doing, guys?
Yeah, pretty
Doing
good,
good.
mate. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. Not been a bad week in wrestling, has it? But I don't think it's been too over the top either. Not a lot
Well, with the
going on,
exception
but
of
at the
that
same time,
stupid Darby Allin, man.
what's that? Well, do you know
Said
what?
with the
Do you
exception
know
of
what,
that
guys?
stupid Darby Allin match.
That's exactly where I want to start. So the O&R Foundation Cup, we had Martha Hart in attendance, and as a lot of people know, obviously Owen tragically died by falling from a great feat. So, Jim, what the fuck on earth were AEW playing at with that Darby Allin spot?
It's just one of those cases of just letting the talent do what they want without really thinking about what they're doing. Honestly, like I didn't watch the match. I saw the clip of it. That's all I needed to see. I had to watch Dynamite the next day, which is rare for me. I usually watch it live. I saw the clip and I was like, that seems really stupid. And then my son told me like how it even went because I just saw like pictures, and then he told me exactly how. I was like, that seems really stupid. And then I found out Martha's in attendance, and I'm like, that seems kind of insensitive. I see people saying that, all these things are approved. I highly doubt they went to Martha and said, hey, Darby's going to do this. Do you approve of that? And she's like, yeah, that sounds good. I highly doubt that was the case. It was just kind of an insensitive move on their behalf.
Yeah. And the thing is, it just goes to show, doesn't it, Nick, that I think they need a creative team to kind of stop this type of thing happening and set the matches out a little bit more.
Yeah, you can't. We learned from WCW, you can't let the inmates run the asylum for too long, otherwise everything just falls apart. They need some direction in that company. I mean, I know that on that match any other night without Martha in attendance, fine. You can run a hardcore crazy spot, but it's just disrespectful. It's disrespectful, and it was insensitive.
Is that kind of match just okay any other night, though? Because, I mean, Darby is a pillar. They constantly consider him to be a pillar. And
True.
He's going to want to do what he wants. He's going to want to do stuff like that all the time. But if he's someone that you're wanting to invest your future in, you got to kind of pump the brakes sometimes and say, hey, let's save this spot for like a pay-per-view. At least let's save it for a pay-per-view. Let's not just do it on a throwaway edition of Dynamite where you're going to lose. Like, that just seems silly.
Well, they shouldn't even have had Darby versus Jeff in the tournament anyway. That should have been a pay-per-view match. That should have been a pay-per-view match down the line.
Put a story behind it. It's a dream match for Darby. Give him that moment, not just, hey guys, it's the Owen Hart tournament. You guys are in it together. Just go do whatever you want to do. Go kill each other. And they almost did.
And I think this is the problem, mate. I think this is the massive problem with AEW. I feel like, as you said, they give them these time and go, right, you've got 10 minutes, go and do something. And, a wrestler, whether it's a throwaway Dynamite or not, they're not business people. They want to go out and every match has got to be the best, every single match, you know what I mean? On the indie scenes, the same guys will probably go run hard every single night. They're not trying to keep anything or anything like that. Where if you're looking like, say, WWE and even Impact Wrestling as well, the talent don't run as hard on the weekly episodic television. Now and again, you might get that one match where it goes like that, but not as an every week thing. And that's where my thing is, Jim.
Yeah, and me and Nick kind of touched on this when we were watching the watch along. That's why Backlash, I feel like, was so well received, is because we don't get to see that kind of action from WB all the time. And people are like, well, that's a shame. And it's like, well, is it? Because less is more. When you don't get to see it all the time and you do see it, it's like, wow, that was great.
Make it special.
But when you see it all the time, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, Dynamite had one of the worst episodes ever. And you want to know what the biggest problem was? There was no stipulation matches. There was no surprises. There was none of that. We're trained to think that's what we're going to see every single Wednesday. So then when it doesn't happen, we're like, what the fuck? Where's our treats? And
that's where we always say the same with the pay-per-views, don't we? Where we expect a debut every pay-per-view now.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even just a debut every pay-per-view. We expect an AEW pay-per-view to absolutely blow it out of the park every single time.
And then it's
set a standard for.
It's not much different than a Dynamite because you get the same kind of stuff on Dynamite. You get the pay-per-views. It's just on a bigger scale.
That's it. And just a little thought on from both of you as well, Nick. We go to you first. Owen Hart Foundation Cup. And the whole Owen's getting put into the AEW video games. What's your thoughts on it all, mate?
Right. I love Owen. I grew up loving Owen because Owen was a young guy when I was a young fan, and I gravitated to him. He never needed a gimmick. He never needed anything to make him good what he was. But I just feel, I don't know how much of the proceeds of this whole thing are going to the Owen Hart Foundation, which I'm assuming, I hope Martha's got it, that a hell of a chunk is going to the Owen Hart Foundation. But it comes across, from a layman's term, like a bit of a cash grab. Like, AEW has nothing to do with Owen Hart. There's no connection there whatsoever. If WWE had done it, I imagine Martha probably wouldn't have been as pliable because of the history there. But I don't know. The whole thing just seems a bit off. Like, the tournament itself, I don't think been presented very prestigiously. I think it's just been done, like Jimmy said, more throwaway Dynamite matches, week in and week out. They could have done a whole show, which was a one-night, 8-man tournament, to decide the winner of this and made it feel prestigious and special, but they haven't. And now they're just going to have the finals of it on a random pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, Jim, I think, like, I know Martha said, well, there's no physical Hall of Fame, which is why she wouldn't let him go into the WWE one, and obviously for the reasons behind the thing, which is totally understandable. But me personally, I feel like AEW the ones gaining out of this rather than Owen's legacy.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
I feel like AEW are the ones gaining out of this rather than Owen's legacy.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want that to come across as me bashing AEW for what they're doing.
No.
At the end of the day, it is cool that we're getting some kind of Owen Hart memory. Like, they're doing something for Owen Hart's memory. The fact that we're actually getting it is cool. I've always been of the belief that, I know Martha has this disdain towards WWE and Vince for what happened, but if there was a way to work something out so where Owen could have gotten to the Hall of Fame and then the money that supposedly AEW is now giving to the Owen Hart Foundation from what they make, WWE could have done the exact same thing. It would have been more money. It would have been on a much bigger scale. And it would have put him in the Hall of Fame in the place where, like, we all kind of know him from. So, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to seem like I'm bashing AEW for what they're doing, because it is cool what they're doing. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I get it. It does kind of seem like AEW is doing it to benefit themselves. But again, I don't even know if I should knock them for it. I mean, we always talk about they need to grow. If they're able to use this, help the Owen Hart Foundation out while growing, I don't see. I know morally some people are like, oh, that's gross. But it's not.
I don't think they'll grow much from it, though.
What's that?
I don't think it'll grow them much.
I
think in the wrestling circles where they've already got the fans anyway. This is the thing. Like, people who know Owen Hart and who know his legacy and stuff are fans like myself and you guys and stuff like that. But again, AEW just have no mainstream media presence whatsoever, and I don't believe this is going to make any difference.
But would you agree that it's at least an attempt to maybe pull some in?
Yeah, it's probably an attempt to get some of the legacy.
That's what we always talk about. Is it doesn't seem like they try. This is one of those things where I feel like if they maybe tackled it differently, maybe pushed it a little bit more, it could work for them. 'Cause I get what you're saying, where most people who are watching AEW already know Owen Hart. I get that. But there might be those people who don't watch wrestling at all, and they hear about this, and they're like, oh, well, let me tune in. I remember Owen Hart, and they tune in, they catch it, and then all of a sudden they're pulled in, and they're like, oh, I like this show.
I think the thing is, though, Jim, right, is that obviously Owen Hart, right, even some people who were kids back then when he passed away, we were kids, me and you, and Nick, and they're always after that demographic, the 30 to 40 demographic. That's what they want. That's what they're after. But what I find a lot of the time is when they do get us to watch. I mean, I watch it anyway because obviously I watch all wrestling with WrestleBuddy and everything else as well. But it's like if you're somebody who hadn't watched wrestling for a long time and you turn on and just see the Young Bucks with friggin' pins attached to the kneecaps doing a fake knee on somebody, you're just going to turn off, mate. And that's where I feel like they're getting it wrong.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because what was a big part of the Attitude Era in Owen Hart during the Owen Hart era? It was the hardcore title situation. It was a fun thing to watch. So it was, but it still resembles that to an extent. It to an extent it does. It's obviously evolved, and I hate that I'm even trying to defend anything Young Bucks.
The biggest problem is though, Jim, somebody of our age group who's between 30 and 40, back in the Attitude Era, it was kendo sticks and trash cans and stuff like this, right?
It's evolved.
When you see somebody putting pins on their shoes and trying to stamp somebody's head, us as a 37-year-old now is going to look at that and go, hang on a minute, this is not believable. It's not believable, mate. In the Attitude Era, a lot of the stuff they done was believable.
Okay, I'll ask this one because I wasn't big into it. I believe you were, because I think you and Dale do this. The ECW scene. Mm-hmm. Would you agree that people who watched ECW back then would see this and be like, hey, that's kind of cool?
No, I don't, because I believe even ECW, these hit each other with barbed wire or throw things or whatever else. But again, it was but it was still believable.
Did you ever watch a New Jack match? Did you watch a New Jack match?
Yeah, I did. But again, I believe New Jack was going to kill somebody. When you look at them stupid Young Bucks and stuff, you don't believe that it's going to happen. It looks so badly choreographed. Me as a teenager may have bought into that, but me as an adult now does not buy into that. And I look at it and go, it's stupid. It's choreographed perfectly, and it's never going to happen. You know what I mean? In real life. And that's the difference. You see, when you see New Jack or ECW or even the Attitude Era, it looks like it could actually happen, Nick.
This is true. I mean, I grew up on ECW. The fact is that company turned me into a fan of hardcore wrestling. It's the reason I'm a GCW fan now. But to me, the Bucks sticking pins on the knees it's not a very good attempt, but it's an attempt to revolutionize hardcore wrestling, to try and do things that they considered different. No, not necessarily going to work, but they're attempting things.
Yeah.
You've got to attempt stuff to try and move the business forward. I agree with you that most 39, 40-year-old fans, we're going to look at it and go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, but that's what they're targeting. That's what they're targeting.
Hold on. Let's step away from the Young Bucks for a second. When you see Darby Allin doing what he's doing, doesn't that resemble it to an extent?
Sometimes Darby Allin can,
I'm with you.
Sorry, not just the Young Bucks. Sorry. Yeah, it's not just the Young Bucks.
No, I don't want to watch it.
But it's not just the Young Bucks, to be fair. It happens in a lot of them. I mean, I've seen some of them where I'm just like, but yeah, you're not going to hit them with that because it's just not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Or you see certain spots and it's just sometimes
the perfect example was Janice in TNA. Perfect example was Janice in TNA, that stupid nail bat that Abyss used to carry around that there's no way in hell he's ever going to hit a human being with because you kill him.
Well, that was it, but in bloody ECW they would
have. This is true. I don't know.
That's all I'm trying to say is it just feels like they're just the trying thing. It's just not believable, and based on the demographic that they're trying to bring in.
Think of it this way: the Young Bucks have made their career on adopting the gimmicks of older wrestlers,
and that's how Bullet take it one step further. They try to
that's
build
literally
on
what they've done, and turn the volume up from what somebody else has already laid the foundation of, and that's not always going to work. They've got to have. There's got to be some originality in there, and unfortunately, Matt and Nick Jackson aren't the most original guys.
No, but the thing is, you know what, Raz? I'll tell you straight, right? If I see them doing a jumping tombstone or add an extra flip to the 360, right? Not my cup of tea per se, but you go, well, that's pretty cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when they start bringing all this stupid shite into it, and like even that V trigger that he does, you know, the double V trigger, it just looks so stupid that it's not like you look at it and you go, oh, this is bad. Do you know what I mean? And that's where
I don't like the BTE
I think
trigger.
What's that?
I don't like the BTE trigger. It's a stupid finish.
It just looks really fake, and that's the thing is like the art of wrestling is to make something look real and make something really stand out and go, whoa, do you know what I mean? That looks like it could really hurt, but turning around, David McIntosh just made a good point here on the chat. Drew swings the sword around like he was decapitating somebody. Yeah, I totally get that, but what you've got to remember is in WWE, and this is why I'm not having a go at AEW, right? But in WWE, they're after the casual fans. They want the young children and stuff like that. Young children sit there and go, oh my God, Drew could actually take his head off with this. Do you know what I mean? Even though us just in the age 30 to 40 demographic will look and go, yeah, no, because that's murder if he does that. Do you know what I mean?
Most people our age group hate the sword thing. So
Yeah. Which totally is right, but WWE doesn't care about our age group. They're not interested.
No, they care about all ages.
The thing is, Jimmy, like, me and you are perfect examples, mate. WWE do not give a shit about me or you. They do not care about us at all. They care about our two boys that are going to turn around and go, Dad, 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 Dad. That's what they care about. Do you know what I mean? That's what they're after.
They're not interested in me. They're not interested in they're not interested in a 40-year-old who's been watching wrestling his whole life because they've already got you. Right? Yeah. They've already got us. WWE realised that the 30 to 40 demographic, we've been watching wrestling since we were kids. In your case, now your kids watch wrestling.
Yeah,
it's a generation.
That's what they're interested in. They're interested in our kids coming to us and saying, "Dad, I really want this," or "I really want that." Do you know what I mean? Exactly. And that's what they want. Do you know where? AEW, on the other hand, are very, very clear about the demographic they want. And it's like, okay, if you are so clear on that demographic you want, that's brilliant. But
then why did Dax Harwood win the Owen Hart tournament?
Cater to that, people. Cater to that.
Give him a babyface run to the end. Like,
that
was a mistake. And
literally,
coming from a guy who doesn't ever want to see Adam Cole lose. Adam Cole should have lost. Dax should have been making a push for that vinyl.
Yeah.
He's literally the one guy that's been going on about the Hart family since the start of the thing. He's the one person that's put all of his character, everything he has about the Harts since this tournament started. And then they just have him eliminated by Adam Cole.
The fans are getting behind him and everything, so...
David said they ain't interested in me. I'm 52 and grew up on the territories. No, you're right, mate, and that's the whole thing.
Because you always talk shit about him, man. Come on.
But no, as I said, it's not turning around and saying that AEW or WWE are wrong, but it's just a little. And as I said, I'm not slamming AEW here whatsoever, not in the slightest. But it's like, okay, but if you're gonna turn around and shout to the rooftops that you're going for that demographic, don't expect that demographic to be stupid and go, whoa, look at what they've just done there. Do you know what I mean? You've got a giant dinosaur on your show, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Don't even get me started.
I like Jungle Express, but again, it's like,
I hate Luchasaurus. That man is dead weight dragging Jungle Boy down.
Thank you.
Right. That's right. You know what I mean? There's a reason they chopped his head off in Lucha Underground. He's useless.
Well, anyway, guys, let's move on to our next topic. So it's been reported this week that Roman Reigns will sporadically defend his title. He's not going to be defending it on every show going forward, and he'll only be picking it up on certain bits and bobs. Jim, you laugh, mate. What's your thoughts on this?
I'm going to wait to see how true all this stuff is, because at first it was like he's going to be gone for the summer, and then all of a sudden that changed a day later. So there's no reason to think that this couldn't change a day later anyway. But let's just pretend that it is real, that he's going to start working less dates. That title's going to start getting defended only at like major events, major shows, and everything. Wouldn't that be the logical next step in the evolution of Roman Reigns as champion?
Yeah.
He's done everything, so it's like, hey, if you guys want to see me, it's going to be special. And that makes sense to me. Like, so... to anybody that's upset about it, I'm sorry for you, honestly. But it makes sense if you honestly sit there and watch what Roman started as when he came back and how he's grown into what he is now. It's just the next perfect step.
Well, that's it. And if that's true, Nick, I believe that, one, I agree with it. I think that he should be used as an attraction. I don't like the fact that a WWE title has to be defended on every single show. I like the fact that he's kept for special occasions. You didn't see Hogan defending his belt every week, did you? But one thing that could happen here, and I hope it does, Nick, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, is I would like to see, well, if Roman's not going to be defending on every show, I would like to see the Intercontinental and US titles be elevated slightly so that they can keep the pay-per-views. What's your thoughts?
For me, the IC title was the shit that I was into when I was a kid. I didn't care about the heavyweight division. I cared about tag team wrestling, and I cared about the IC title. Right? That belt has got so much lineage and so much respect on it that they need to do something with it. If you think about last time when Brock had the belt and Brock had the title for ages and he wasn't around, Dolph Ziggler and The Miz did some absolutely fantastic work with those mid-card titles to put some respect back on them and elevate them back up. At the moment, both those belts are just floundering.
Well, let's go back 30 years ago. Let's go back 30 years ago. You know, an Intercontinental title match headlined a 1992 SummerSlam. That was absolutely fire. You know, so it can be done, and it's been done before, and it can be done again. You know, up until round Stone Cold to The Rock and Triple H, that belt was always your stepping stone to see how they could do. Now, if they're going, Jim, with regards to these titles, you know, and they're looking for the next star, because at the moment, I believe that's the reason why they're trying to stick with Roman as champion, even if he wants to go part-time, because they know they haven't got a bigger star than Roman. Now, sorry, Nick. So, Nick, when they turn around and with the IC title or the US title, having that title on somebody to elevate the titles, but also putting them as the headliner on pay-per-views and making a good story and feud around each individual title, it'll give you an idea of who could potentially be the next star, could it not, Nick?
Yes, it would. It's not just that. It's like, for me, at the moment, now, I don't think he wants to do it, but Ricochet ain't going to work as an Intercontinental champion. Ricochet is a flippy boy that we all love to watch do flippy things, but he is not a believable Intercontinental champion because he spent the last 2 years getting buried on the main roster every week. Put that belt on Sami Zayn. Put that belt on Sami Zayn. No. Put it back on Sami Zayn. Have him hold the title for Roman. Because Roman's not around. This way, the bloodline still keeps getting mentioned every week. Sami's title reign actually means something because Sami's amazing work, but he's not taken very seriously. And the guy has the potential to put on absolute banger matches. He cuts a great promo. He looks good. He's fantastic in the ring. He's hilarious. And he can carry the title well. You put it on Sami Zayn, give him a match against Kevin Owens at the main event of a pay-per-view.
Whoa! What's this face you're giving there, Andy? Well, explain yourself here.
Sammy's had the title and he's done all right with it and stuff, but for me, it's guys who you're looking at and thinking they could be the next Roman Reigns. That's the guys you want to be trying out with the championships. Cody Rhodes, you could have him on it. Austin Theory's got the US title. Give him a good run with it. See what he can do on a headline at a pay-per-view.
So wouldn't you want to put the title on someone credible? We could say Sami Zayn here, since that's the topic we're talking about, and then use that to kind of bring it back to a little bit of prominence, and then use Sami Zayn in that title to have one of the new guys. Well, I'll just use Theory because he's the big new guy that we have to beat Sami Zayn at a pay-per-view main event to put him over, and then you have effectively put over a new guy, you've put him in the main event, you've tested the waters, and now you can see where it goes from there. That's why someone like I feel like someone like Sami Zayn is important for a mid-card title because he can help. Why? Because he's an attract.
Well,
he attracts.
Why Sami Zayn at the moment is because the IC title's on SmackDown, and the SmackDown roster is bare bones at best.
Sammy's being the champion. He's just had a jackass match with Johnny Knoxville. He's being made to look like a clown for a while. I just don't think it's. I'm not saying that he couldn't in the future, Jim. I just don't believe right now. I feel like he's being put down too much.
Would you agree that he's the most entertaining thing on SmackDown?
He is, and that's why I don't think he needs to have the title.
So, but if he had the title, doesn't that put a spotlight on the title?
Not really, because there's a difference between being entertaining. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was entertaining back in the day.
Okay, who would, based on SmackDown right now?
Okay,
who would you put the IC title on over Sami Zayn?
Drew McIntyre.
Why?
because Drew McIntyre is a mid to top level guy, and I believe that he could hold that title for a little while and headline a pay-per-view with it.
How do you take the title
against Gunther?
Gunther. Take it off him.
Gunther, but then if Drew McIntyre is next in line to take on Roman Reigns, doesn't that kind of bring him down a peg? Because you just had Roman comes mid-card title before he goes into a main event thing with Roman, which we all expect him to win.
Well, why not? But hang on, Bret Hart lost the IC championship and then went to becoming the world champion. Not long after.
Bret Hart lost to Owen, then won the world title.
Ultimate Warrior was the Intercontinental champion. Macho Man was an Intercontinental champion and then went on to win the big one. Do you know what I mean? Shawn Michaels.
How long of was there a time period between those? Just educate me real quick.
Bret Hart, I don't believe there was much time at all. Well, Bret Hart, don't forget, he lost against Owen Hart and then won the title the same night.
Yeah, I said before.
At WrestleMania.
If Sammy had the title, he would make anyone look like $1 million. True. You build Sammy the title and his opponents all at one, and all of a sudden your roster starts getting more credible. That's why I think when you look at, because we look at SmackDown and we all agree Sammy is the most entertaining thing about that show. We all agree that he's a phenomenal wrestler as well. We just don't get to see it that often. And if you look at the one, not the last IC title run that lasted 2 weeks, the one where he had the ladder match with AJ and
with the handcuffs,
and Jeff,
the greatest ladder match in years.
Yes, you look at something like that where he is a chicken shit coward like he is now. He still made it to be like, okay, you still have to do something to get there because he's a crafty little dude, and it makes it all when someone is able to finally beat him. And I like the idea of Roman's gone, so these IC title matches might get the main event. You give someone a main event spot that is able to outsmart Sami Zayn and then get that crowning moment. It's good. Like with Drew, I think it's going to be more along the lines of, okay, Drew just lost. Now he's going to Roman. I think that's the thought process that's going to come. I don't think you want to. You don't want to tangle future plans.
My big problem is Sammy for me doesn't need a title. Sammy doesn't need a title, and he's so entertaining and stuff like that. But I don't really see him as a champion. That's the problem. Is I feel like he just brings. I love Sami Zayn. Don't get me wrong. I love Sami Zayn, but I also love Kofi Kingston, and I didn't think he should have been a champion either.
Okay, so with Sammy, I agree with what he's doing. I don't think he needs a title to what he's doing. But if Roman is going away and this project is starting today, you have to jumpstart it. And
do you know what I'd do? I'd have Gunther come in. I'd have him slap the shit out of Ricochet, destroy him, and go, I will, because he's a serious character anyway, I will bring this title back to seriousness, and, you know.
I'll bring the respect back. It's all about honoring the ring.
That you need for that to bring the IC title back to prominence, though. Yeah. I don't think Gunther is there yet. That's my only issue. I don't think he's there yet on the
However, Jim, putting him in the ring with Ricochet for 15 minutes, where Ricochet tries every flip in the universe and just keeps getting chopped out of midair, would get Gunther over.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, Ricochet is really good at getting people over. No, the problem is, though, Ricochet's been treated like a joke since he got to the main roster.
That's my point, is he's treated like a joke. So if you just did that with Gunther, is that really going to work? And then you're throwing
the thing is, what's Sammy going to bring to it, though, that Gunther, that Ricochet?
Because Sammy is a far more creative mind than all those guys, and he's going to be able to do things to make you want to see what's going to happen. Whereas with Gunther, I think 6 months from now, absolutely you could do this with Gunther. But he doesn't have the reaction from the crowd yet. People don't really care too much about him. If you just threw the title on Gunther, how does that make it any different than when they just threw it on Ricochet just to see what would happen? It doesn't.
It's exactly what they did in NXT UK, and he got a 786-day reign out of it.
Okay, that's a complete yes, but that is a completely different level. I'm not shitting on.
Oh yes. No.
What about a Braun Breaker, bringing a Braun Breaker up, winning the IC title first night?
I wouldn't mind that one. I wouldn't. I'm just talking about with the roster we have now.
Yeah.
In fact, here's an idea: use the Usos' younger brother. Solo
Sammy is a
Sequoia or whatever
5-star match waiting to happen. See, this is one of the very few things me and David agree with.
No, do you know what, mate? Honest to God, I think Sammy. Don't take it for 1 minute that I am disrespecting Sammy. I love Sami Zayn. I have always loved Sami Zayn. Do you know, I think he's awesome, but I don't think he's a title holder. Sami Zayn to me is your Hacksaw Jim Duggins, you friggin'. You know, you people like that who were there, who were really, you want to watch them because they're cool.
To play devil's advocate, as Jake Snake Roberts said, titles are there to make stars. Don't need them, don't use them.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we'll find out as it goes along anyway. The other thing that I want to say is we've got Money in the Bank coming up shortly as well. Do we see the Money in the Bank being used to snatch one of the titles away from Roman?
Yes. But not till WrestleMania. I think Roman is going to headline both nights of next year's WrestleMania. Because if you watch the Money in the Bank promo from Backlash, Cody didn't just say, oh, they get a title shot. He said they get to main event WrestleMania. Cody's going to win Money in the Bank, and he's going to hold the thing all the way till Mania. And he's going to call his shot like
Roman's
Van Damme.
versus The Rock, mate.
No. Roman beats The Rock on night 2. He loses Cody.
They wouldn't do that.
Night 1.
No. Won't happen. Tell you that.
Yeah, I feel like if you saw Roman lose night 1, that kind of defeats the purpose of having night 2.
Yeah, there wouldn't be no point in having him versus The Rock.
In that case, swap around.
Everything. I feel like WWE, I think Cody Rhodes has made a point of turning around and saying that to swerve people.
Yeah.
Because I believe Cody wins Money in the Bank, potentially, and then he nips one of the belts off Roman. Or somebody else wins the Money in the Bank, nips a belt off Roman. Because don't forget, they still say to him, he still carries the 2 belts. If he was going to be undisputed and he were never going to go back to 2 belts, they would have revealed a new belt by now. I don't.
Yeah, they did when Jericho won it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Maybe
I feel like
Roman to be gone though before they introduce a new one.
Well, the thing is,
I just don't see it, Jim, because I think if you're the likes of Raw and your USA Network or Fox, you want your own champion, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when Roman takes his hiatus, they're like, all right, we need to introduce a new title because there's no need to have Roman gone with both titles. And then they have a little tournament on Monday night. There's your new champion. Because that's my only gripe with Roman leaving with both titles is that I don't think it should be done with both titles. I think there should definitely be.
No, and that's where I think that Money in the Bank plays a big part in it. It's a quick and easy way to whip one of them off him.
Cody has specifically said that he wants the WWE Championship, not the Universal Championship. So he didn't say he wants the and realistically, if Roman loses the WWE title, not that big a deal to him. That's not the belt he's held for nearly 700 days. The Universal title is the belt he's held for nearly 700 days. So he can lose the WWE title, even if the shenanigans in the match where the Usos cost him the belt, anything could go on.
Shenanigans.
And
has to be.
Yeah, they were Uso-based shenanigans. He loses the belt to Cody. Cody looks great. Roman doesn't lose face. And then he still gets to walk out on SmackDown or the next pay-per-view he's on and be like, I don't care. I've still got this belt. I've held this belt for a year. 2 years? What's anybody else going to do?
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, let's move on from there then. Any other news you two guys want to discuss before we wrap up?
Kota Ibushi. So, has anybody kept
any other news? Anybody else? Any other news?
He said, any other news?
Look at his face.
No one cares.
I'll say this. It definitely seems like an interesting story. I don't know anything about it other than he's accusing them of things.
Yes, he is. Lots of things. And he's probably never going to work there again, but that's not my point for bringing it up. My point for bringing it up is the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Kenny Omega's best friend in the world. Yeah, well, it's probably not. All right, Kenny Omega's best friend in the world is Kota Ibushi. Kenny Omega wanted to wrestle Kota Ibushi at Forbidden Door. Kota Ibushi is now being blacklisted by New Japan Pro Wrestling, and AEW has just started a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. What's Kota Ibushi going to do? He can't get hired in DDT. He can't get hired in Noah. He's been totally blacklisted. Oh, would you two stop looking so bored? This is actually interesting news.
Ibushi, WWE, baby. Just to let people's heads fucking explode.
Yeah, that would literally drive people mental. But honestly, I was getting to that point. There's nowhere else he can really go. Mm-hmm. He's been blacklisted in Japan, so he can't get hired in Japan. He can't get hired by AEW because they've now got a working relationship with New Japan. Why the fuck is he going to go to Impact? The only place left for him to
you could go to AAA with fucking Tessa Blanchard.
GCW. Control your narrative. Perfect. Control your narrative.
Yeah. To be fair. But anyway, that was all.
He'll go to Impact and few abuse. Well, I suppose both of them can speak just as much English as the other one, Alex. Anyway, guys, right, let's move on to some actual. Let's get some stimulation conversation going. Okay, so far on the All or Nothing pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, sorry. We've got Hookhausen versus Tony Smart, Mark Sterling, Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb, Hangman versus Adam Page versus CM Punk. Do you think Punk's winning the title there, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he has to, doesn't he?
Before I go any further, because this is a subject that I feel like you bring up a lot with managers and how they're not used correctly. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Mark Sterling?
I love him. I think he's been perfect with. I think he's been really good for Jade. He's been so good for Jade. I like him in some of his bits and bobs. I feel like he's really helped Jade come on. And I think it was a really good move to put him there. Yeah, I really do rate him.
The thought of having him like manage multiple people though, and be involved with multiple people, kind of like how it used to be back in the day. I know that's something you've touched on. I just wanted to see if you were catching on and if we were on the same page. So yeah, good deal. Yeah, I like Mark Sterling. I think he's great.
Love it.
Yeah.
As I always say, mate, you look at the Heenan family. Somebody will be elevated to a mid-carder or a main eventer just by being associated with Bobby the Brain back in the day. So, hopefully Mark Sterling can get himself up there at that part. What do you think on Hookhausen?
Oh.
I'll be honest.
Just to touch on
I think it's amazing. Did anybody see what happened after Dynamite went off air? I put it on Twitter before. Right? That was genius. Danhausen going, give me money and I won't curse you. So CM Punk searched his pockets and he didn't have him, so he cursed him anyway. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I was in stitches watching what happened after Dynamite went off air. I love Danhausen, and I don't even know why I love Danhausen.
Do you know one thing I'll tell you is Danhausen and Hook remind me, not to the same extent, by the way, but just the kind of concept of Mankind's in the Rock.
Yeah.
Where one of them's the idiot like that and the other one's the serious one. Not obviously, I'm not saying Hook's fucking the Rock, but do you know what I mean? The concept of it is kind of...
No, it reminds me of Steve Blackman announcement.
Did you get where I'm going with that,
yeah? Yeah. One, the comedy and the killer.
Do you think Serena Deeb gets rid of Thunder's title reign, or do you think it's too soon?
Unfortunately, she's going to lose. They're not going to take the belt off Thunder just yet, which is a shame because
with Serena Deeb.
Yeah, should do.
A crying shame. I mean, Serena should be in the Blackpool Combat Club, in my opinion, just to give her something to do. She needs to be the female member.
She's
the woman in the ring. Yeah, she really is.
Let me ask you one interesting question, and then one answer from both of you. Serena Deeb isn't the one to dethrone Thunder Rosa. Who is? Nick.
Tony Storm.
Jim.
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill.
Okay.
Oh, do you know what I'm going to say?
2 belt.
Tay Conti.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, especially with the amount of heat she's got right now. Strike while the iron's hot and all that.
Yeah, Dave says Mark, it's the title, Tony. Yeah. I think Tay Conti, I really do. I don't really get why everybody, Tony Storm, she deserves it. Why does she?
No, I think Tony. No. I think Tony's probably going to win the Owen Hart tournament on her side because Britt's probably going to lose to the Joker in the qualifying match this week, whoever the Joker happens to be.
MMA.
I hope so. That would be really good if it's Athena. Ember Moon.
Did you see that Candice LeRae and the Young Bucks have a very similar headline photo on their Twitter pages?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't.
They were both involved in somewhere else.
No, I don't look at their dickheads.
God, I really don't.
Someone else showed it. That's why I saw. I'm not like going and looking and doing investigation. I just saw it and I'm like, that's interesting.
What did he get for winning the Owen Hart Cup? What did he win?
Nice trophy.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Bragging rights and a trophy.
Do you know what then? I'll be honest. Say Conti's still in it?
No.
In the women's. Nope. Sammy Guevara still in the men's?
Nope. They weren't in it at all.
No, they didn't even qualify.
I'd have somebody win it right and walk around like a dick, like Owen used to with the Slammy Awards, if you want to give a real good nod to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be good.
No. That'd be really good for both of them. Since we're like literally a week away at this point, or a few days away, who do you think the Jokers are?
Cesaro.
Cesaro and Athena?
Yeah. Well, Cesaro used to use the sharpshooters, didn't he? So it could be good nod.
Okay. I've got a feeling it's going to be Cesaro. I know he's busy doing Teddy. Oh, I don't think he'll be Teddy with the amount of trouble he's been in the last year. Did someone accuse him of murder?
He's saying Candice and Gargano. I don't even think Candice is in ring shape. I don't know how that worked, but I don't think she would be in ring shape yet.
Candice LeRae is a terrible wrestler.
Gargano maybe, but no.
Candice LeRae is a terrible wrestler. She was always a terrible wrestler during a time of terrible wrestling.
Mouth out with soap.
Do you know what I would love to see? I would love to see Britt and Thunder trying to have a hardcore match with Candice LeRae. She would it would be so bad. She would murder him. Man, that's wild. I never thought I'd hear something like that.
I hate Candice LeRae. I always hated Candice LeRae. I thought the way that the women were treated during the Divas Revolution was shocking and appalling. And she did nothing but, I know she was doing her job, but her and Christy Hemme, they're both as bad as each other, in my opinion. They've done nothing to elevate women's wrestling. They did everything to drag it back down.
Okay, swiftly moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. Right, okay then. Well, we're going to wrap it up there then, because I haven't even got nothing left to say, Nick. I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not mad. I'm ashamed.
He's so disappointed. I could probably get away with saying Goldberg right now, and it wouldn't even matter.
It wouldn't. I'm just so disappointed. I'm so disappointed.
I'm entitled to my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. Let us know in the comment what your opinions are, because we do value everybody's opinion here on WrestleBuddy. No matter how much stupid they are. We do love.
Did you guys watch a single one of her matches? They're all terrible.
Yeah, I watched Candice LeRae a lot when she was in it.
A lot, yeah.
They're all terrible.
No. Her and Io Shirai. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Candice LeRae. I've got my brain completely cross-wired.
You were the wrong person. I really did.
Yeah. You want Mrs. Gargano? Yeah. Thank you. I've got my brain completely cross-wired. Right, everybody retract what I just said. I was thinking of Kaylee Ray.
Johnny Gargano's wife.
Yeah.
I agree over Kaylee Ray, by the way.
Good. She's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, WrestleBuddies, thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you tuning in every week, and I hope you enjoyed this week. It was only a couple of topics, but I thought we had a really good debate on what was being going on and stuff, and I really enjoyed myself. Jimmy and Nicky, thanks to you both, lads. Appreciate you being here as always. As well, let us know in the comments, guys, what your thoughts are on all the stuff that we've covered today. It'd be interesting to see. I think it's been really good stuff. I know. Well, anyway, from me, from Jim, from Nick, we'll see you next week. Don't forget to head over to WrestleBuddy.com for all your wrestling news and information over there. But from us, until next time, guys, take care.
Let's have a prediction show.
Which is coming up here. Oh, yeah. Another prediction show coming up next.
9 o'clock tonight.
9 o'clock. So make sure you're there, guys.